Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to the January 9th, 2012 Morganton City Council meeting. I want to wish each and every one of you in the room tonight and all of our citizens going to be watching this over the coming weeks and tonight live, of course. I want to wish everyone a healthy and happy new year. At this time, I'd like to call on Sheldon Stevenson to lead us with our invocation. Steve, happy new year to you, sir.
This evening I would like to hold before you something you already know, and that is the value of talented volunteers who share their knowledge, their skills, their time to helping to meet the human needs of the city. I was thinking especially of Christmas Cheers. We just came through that. We helped some 767 families right here from the community. And it's all done with volunteers. I had to have 12 volunteers myself just to help to do what I wanted to do. The purpose for this, bringing this up, is I'd like to hold up the name before you of John Watkins, and for his meaning. As you know, John died this past week. I and about 12 others I used to meet every Saturday morning for breakfast, and John wanted to be there all the time. In the last few weeks, you could tell he was suffering much pain just to be at the meeting. But he liked people, and he liked to be there. He was a great volunteer. And I'll give you some examples. John helped to establish the mission statement, station, and for years helped to maintain it. For years, he was a county volunteer budget director. He worked with and helped build houses with a Habitat for Humanity. He repaired and rebuilt old rundown houses to meet the needs of the people that would like to live there. He helped rebuild bicycles for Christmas cheer. That was a good thing to do. He was a pilot during the war. Just to see the example that he was holding for us is the reason that I hold up his name, because he's meant so much to this community and to life here. May we pray. Dear Lord, we come here because we love our beautiful city. We care for the people who live here. We thank Thee for the city council and the mayor, those who work diligently and with spirited grace to maintain the goodness of life here. This evening we extend our gratitude to volunteers who, like John Watkins, hold the needs of the people before their own welfare. We do pray, Lord, that you will guide and direct and spirit us, each of us in the meeting tonight, that we may be done with your wisdom, your guidance, your spirit, your blessing. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve. And I will tell you, as John Watkins would say, you stole the mayor's thunder.
I did what?
You stole the mayor's thunder, because I'm still going to talk about John Watkins in a few minutes. Okay?
Well,
and you need to stay here and you'll listen.
We'll even let you do a good thing.
Because he was a good man. At this time, I'd like to introduce our city council. And on my far right is Dr. Alfred Hamer, city councilman, Forrest Fleming, city councilman, Steve Settlemeyer, city attorney. I'm Mel Cohen, mayor of City of Morganton. Sally Sandy, city manager. Sidney Simmons, city councilman. John Cantrell, city councilman. Kelly Russell, recording secretary. And Becky Brinkley, who is interpreting for our deaf community. At this time, Jimmy, you may want just to come up to that podium and stand a second. We'll put you on the hot seat. But first, I want to read a resolution honoring Jimmy White. Jimmy is, and before I get into the resolution, I will tell you that your smile, all in the jobs that you did daily, are going to be missed by me, and I'm sure all the citizens of Morganton, and I mean that sincerely, because you smiled a lot, and that means you loved your job and you loved this community. Resolution honoring Jimmy C. White. Whereas Jimmy C. White was employed by the City of Morganton as truck driver in the Public Works Department on January 24th, 1996. Transferred to equipment operator 1 on January 11th, 2003, and transferred to truck driver on May 10th, 2003. And whereas Jimmy White has faithfully served the City of Morganton in the Public Works Department and has given of his time and efforts for the benefit of the citizens of Morganton for 16 years and 6 months. And whereas Jimmy C. White retired from the City of Morganton as truck driver in the Public Works Department on January 1st, 2012. And whereas the Morganton City Council wishes to officially recognize the contributions of Jimmy C. White and express their appreciation for a job well done. Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Morganton that the mayor present this resolution to Jimmy C. White, adopted this the 9th day of January 2012. Mel Coyne, Mayor, Sally Sandy, City Clerk. I'm making the form of the motion, guys.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Jimmy, you notice I never ask for a no vote. I don't want one.
Right.
Because there'll never be one with people like you working for the City of Morganton.
Right, thank you.
And, you know, we're losing good city employees almost daily retiring because we have such a great force. And I want to wish you well in all you do, and I look forward to seeing you around the community.
Yes, sir.
I mean that sincerely. And I want to present this to you, and if you want to say anything, you're welcome to say something. If not, I'd like for you to start right there with Mr. Cantrell and shake the council's hand when you leave.
Okay.
And you don't have to stay for this boring meeting, okay?
All right, well, I do appreciate each and every one of you. I was telling my wife it's my first time being here at a council meeting, but I'm glad to see everybody face to face. I do watch it on television, but it's not the same as it is when you're here. And I do want to thank Scott and Sally. They kept me going, Mel. They was loving me. When people love you, you can't but love them back. And they make the job worth doing well because of people like them that appreciate it. You know, all the time they see you, they always tell you how much you do, how much they appreciate it. Even TGIF, Sally would kind of encourage me, and I felt like doing my best up there. So I thank each and every one of you. I thank the Lord that he kept me strong enough to do the work and accomplish that which God intended me to have to do. So y'all just continue to look forward for me to do what I can around in the city of Morganton.
Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Jimmy. God bless you.
Jimmy, good luck, buddy.
Good luck to you. Appreciate you.
Jimmy, y'all don't have to stay. Thank you for bringing your pastor. I have another presentation of a service pin. Jimmy's not here. Jimmy Phillips, in the cemetery and grounds supervisor in the Public Works Department for 35 years. Scott will give him his pen. In public advocacy issues and strategies, and Steve, of course, did talk about John, and John is a worthy individual to be talked about twice in one city council meeting. And I must tell you that you didn't say he was a major, and he would be very proud of when he retired from the armed forces. He retired as a major, and that's saying something. John had three great loves. One love was Lee, of course, that died in 2007. And Lee is buried in Richmond, and that's where John's remains will be taken to be buried along with Lee. He leaves behind, of course, 2 daughters and a son. And John was one of the individuals that I will truly call a friend. But the reason I loved him like I did is because he would always tell me the straight scoop. John was not one to mince with words. He would always tell you what he thinks, and those are the kinds of people that I appreciate. He had a varied background in textiles, chemicals, and machinery, but he came here, and this became a love behind Lee and his children. He began to love this community and participated in the community. He was director, and many people don't know this, and I remember him vividly as director of our economic development department. And he was Friends of the Library. He was in the Morganton Kiwanis Club, very proud of the Kiwanis Club that he was in. He also was on the foundation board at Western Piedmont. active member of the Bert County Chamber of Commerce, and he was a fundraiser. He and his two associates, and I like to call them something else, but I won't. There were three of them that went around, and when John, when Otto, and Bill came around looking at you and coming to see you, and I mean Otto Warner and Bill Ullman, when the three of them came around, you just well get your checkbook out. That's the way it was, and they raised a tremendous amount of money. And I was with them when they raised the money for the Bert Mission Station and brought that building from decay back to what it is today, and a very great thing in our community. And John is his blood, sweat, and tears could be put right on top of that building. One of the key things that we showed him that we loved him is he was Morganton's Man of the Year in 1996, not a long time ago, but he was presented that great award in this community. And I will tell you that he was also the building manager for a number of years, and I know Sally had to deal with him on a number of occasions when he wanted something done for the mission station and didn't have any money in those early days. And Scott and our department heads put their heads together and did a lot of things to make sure that the people that used the services of the Bert Mission Station were helped out. And the likes of John Watkins, they don't come down the streets anymore. These are people that are very rare, and this community is in a great loss of a man like John Watkins, and we sorely miss him. And thank you, Steve, for bringing it up. Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else on what I wanted to say to you.
I have one thing,
Okay.
if I might. On Friday, January the 27th, the City Council will be holding a workshop in this room, beginning at 8:30 that morning, and there's a variety of topics that will be discussed that day by different department heads. Our winter informational meeting.
Very good. Municipal power. Anything?
One thing to report, the rate committee is working and meeting monthly to come up with the wholesale rates that they are going to propose in time for budget season for the cities coming up in the spring.
Okay. Sally, consent agenda.
The consent agenda tonight actually includes 6 individual items, and the staff considers those items to be non-controversial and would ask that the council consider those in one single motion, unless there is someone on the council or in the audience that would like to have an item removed and discussed separately. For those of you viewing at home, the items on the agenda are minutes from the regular meeting, which was held on December the 5th, tax releases in the amount of $191.22, the second reading of taxi cab franchises. This is an annual approval. The third year approval of the audit contract. This is for fiscal year 11-12 in the amount of $32,800, and that is to Eric Bowman. The approval of a plan update of Bert County's 10-year solid waste plan. We are required by state law to have a plan, and the city has always piggybacked and approved with Bert County's plan, and there has been a change to that regarding the disposal of electronics. And we are just adopting that change as Bert County has. And then the annual certification of firefighters.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as is.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Appearances. Ed Phillips, Director of Tourism for the Bert County Tourism Development Authority, the report on the 2011 tourism in Bert County. Ed, glad to have you with us.
Thank you very much. This is my second appearance before the city council. I came last year and reported that we had just initiated a campaign using $328,600 of Golden Leaf money. Last year our marketing campaign started off in a grand style, and I have a little presentation I'd like to go through tonight, and you guys have copies of that. And also, there are copies available for the public or anyone else. They can see me. I can email them copies, or we will print off copies for them as well. So this current fiscal year we're in, we have a budget of $275,577, plus a balance from our Golden Leaf grant of $170,000. Morganton and Valdez receive a portion of the occupancy tax revenues, which totals $94,000 that they use for marketing and promoting their individual municipalities and cities, and they work with us closely on a lot of projects. So we have a balance this year of $181,000 for countywide marketing. We also will be giving away approximately $10,000 in community grants. They go for festivals and new ideas to help promote Bert County and Morganton. Advertising, marketing, public relations, and staffing are the balance of our budget. So we have 14 members of the community that serve on our Golden Leaf Advisory Committee. Again, we received a grant of $328,600 over 2 years. The activities involved with that grant include marketing, hospitality training, and program staffing for product development. In 2011, we set a new record for visitors in our visitor center, that through November, we had 2,190 people. We keep track of this every day, including Saturdays when we're open during the season. We had visitors here from more than half of the United States and several foreign countries. I didn't list all the foreign countries, but some of note that we see repeat visitors from is the United Kingdom, Canada, and Germany. Had a lot of people from Germany this year. In 2011, the visitor events that occurred in the county and in Morganton that I feel were important, there were more than this, but these were the kind of the primary ones that brought a lot of visitors here. The Ridge to Bridge Marathon had over 360 entries from 24 states and Canada. It's absolutely amazing, the fan base and the participation they have for that. The Red, White, and Bluegrass Festival, continues to grow with 30,000 plus spectators over that 4-day event. And then the youth sporting events that are all across the county, including Catawba Meadows Park. The Foothills Wine Festival had 15 wineries and approximately 600 people that paid to get in and tour that facility up in Glen Alpine back in May. That will repeat this year, but it's going to be in April. We have regional bridge tournaments in Morganton that bring in 300 to 400 players here 4 times a year. It's a Southeast Regional, and that's hosted by a local individual here that takes that on himself. And that's a great event here. The GNC race at Steel Creek Park had approximately 6,000 spectators. If you've never seen that, I encourage you to go out there. It is absolutely amazing. It is kind of a subculture of life for these people. And I experienced it for my first time last March. They will be back again this year. The Joara Open House had approximately 1,200 visitors, which is up every year. And then the historic Morganton Festival had 45,000 plus. Who knows really, but it was a lot of people, and I guarantee you I was in the middle of it, and I know all you guys were, and it was a record for me, I can assure you. The Waldensian Festival in Valdez had approximately 10,000 plus over the 2-day event in August. So we published a couple of things. The most unusual, you had official Morganton Trail Guide. There are copies here in the Visitor Center and also here in the City Hall, where you can pick them up out front. The Table Rock brochure, the Linville Gorge brochure, and an area map used by visitors. We also this past year purchased a festival tent, which features discoverbertcounty.com. This was done in cooperation with our Golden Leaf grant money, and we've used this at several festivals. This picture here you see was taken at the Wine Festival up in Glen Alpine. The background photo was taken by local photographer John Payne, an exceptional photography, one of the best pictures I've ever seen of the Linville Gorge. We also went to some welcome centers. You see there Uncle Sam and some area musicians that went along with us. We had a great time, attracted a big crowd, a lot of fun for that. This past year, I've also appeared on several television shows as a guest speaking on behalf of Bert County. Presented this host over in Bristol, Tennessee with a bottle of Bert County wine. I'll be going back over there in a few weeks to talk about a new event that's coming up, which I'll mention in a moment. Life in the Carolinas was a syndicated television show filmed here back in October. It's still airing on Compass Channel 2. It will also re-air on all of the regional networks again in March. They will also be back here shooting some other specialty type segments for other shows, including Lake James State Park. We've also gone out into the public with special media events. This is a group of bluegrass musicians that participated. These kids were actually the very first bluegrass camp for kids with the Red, White, and Bluegrass Festival. And we toured, this was Bristol, Tennessee. They were on air over there promoting the festival. We toured the streets, and people came out and took photos of them. And I think they really felt like they were something during that. The new Visitor's Guide published this past year, Most Unusual Yet Official Morganton Trail Guide. It's a definitive guide to hiking, biking, shopping, dining, and just lazing about. Been well received. Inside it has a trail theme, including auto and motorcycle trails throughout the county. A wine and ale trail featuring our vineyards, our wineries, and our brewery here in Morganton. We had an advertising campaign that ran throughout the spring and summer. The title was North Carolina's Greatest Adventures All Have One Thing in Common, Their Starting Place, Morganton, North Carolina. Very well received. Also an outdoor campaign on Interstate 40 calling downtown Morganton Outdoor Adventure Headquarters, exit 105. By the way, I'll just mention really quick, since the clearing of the trees at exit 105, business at that intersection has gone through the roof. So much so that Hampton Inn has canceled their billboards on I-40 because they don't need it anymore. You can see the Hampton Inn in time to make a decision to exit. And their transient traffic, or people that get off in the evening driving Interstate 40, is really high, and they're thrilled with that. So unexpected positive about the clearing down there. We're giving out visitor gifts or seed packs of black-eyed Susans. I know the city, and I've talked to you, Mayor, about this. We have some seeds for you guys to plant, and I know Scott's here to talk about that later. But we hope to plant a lot of black-eyed Susans throughout the city this coming spring. Invite people to come and see our beautiful flowers. The 2012 Chamber Magazine cover just came out. Exhilaration at every turn. This shot was done at one of our vineyards out off of Dysertsville Road. This couple that you see seating there are from New Jersey. They have moved to the area. They have purchased the vineyard and are in the process of turning that into a winery, among other agricultural products that they will grow there. We hosted travel writers back in July. This shot was at High Shoals Falls. Amazing thing happened. These people love Morganton. They love Bert County. Every single one of them has written multiple articles about us. This next year we will offer 2 travel writer tours of the area. One we'll consider an adventure tour, and the other one is yet to be determined, but will be held in the fall. So we also published a Superlatives List. Bet you didn't know Bert County has the blank. Deepest gorge east of Mississippi, largest state park, on and on and on. We really have a lot of great things here, and I think we're doing a great job of promoting those. Articles, and this is just a brief list, but this past year we had articles published about Bert County and Morganton in AAA Go magazine, Her magazine. Her magazine is a Sunday monthly that comes out in Johnson City, Tennessee. The Sunday it ran back in, I believe it ran in September. And on Monday morning we had a couple from Johnson City walk into the visitor center with the article and places circled in Morganton that they wanted to come visit. You can't ask for a better response than that. Our marketing metrics, how do we measure our success? And a couple of things we do look at is the walk-in traffic, which is in blue on your graphic there. The walk-in traffic in the visitor center in 2011 is in blue. The lower line, which is hard to see, but it's kind of a burnt orange or purple, was 2010. You can see the huge increase in traffic that occurred beginning in May, jumped up and continued through the peak in October. The drop-off that you see at the end is not that significant. We just haven't received the numbers yet for November, December. The web traffic, incredible web traffic, and we are promoting our website. That jumped up in May with our marketing and continued at a high level even through the end of the year. Another way that we measure our success is through the occupancy tax collections, which is a direct result of people staying in our accommodations in the county. In July, we had a 1-month record, brand new. October, you see, is not far behind July. The thing I like to point out if you look at the red, which is 2009, 2010, the gray, 2011, the blue, we're beginning to see a more stable pattern in our visitors here. We still have seasonal fluctuations in July and October, of course, but our business is becoming more static throughout the year, and we love to see that. We also opened new businesses in the tourism arena this year with the Outpost at Catawba Meadows Park. CBS Sports opened this with tubing, kayaking, shuttle service. People love that. We had people come from all over, especially during the ball tournaments in the summer. Wineries and vineyards continue to be a great attraction in the county. This was South Mountain. This is, we were setting up for the cover shot for the Bert County Chamber magazine. Absolutely beautiful place. So here's some things we've seen this year. We've seen a significant increase in relocating couples and families, people coming into the visitor center, telling us they're moving here, they want information. We love to see that. Weekend visitor increase on Saturdays. We were open from 9 until about 1 when we started, or 10 to 1, then we increased it to 9 to 2. Next year, we'll probably be open 9 to 4, 9 to 5. We're seeing people come all day from all parts of North Carolina and South Carolina. And you know, we're all about jobs, and tourism is jobs, just like a manufacturing facility is. And this past year, we actually tracked and measured 66 new tourism jobs since July 1. That's in the retail, restaurant, and wineries business. We also have a new winery moving to downtown Morganton, which should be open soon. And these jobs continue. This report that you see here was put together about a month ago, and there's been jobs added since then. To see tourism jobs added in the winter is pretty rare, and I'm real excited about that. So in 2012, some of the things we'll be doing is working to support and develop new tourism businesses. We'll continue our marketing plan, begin our hospitality training, and I'll get out and speak to civic and government organizations on the economic impact that tourism has in our community, and I think it's important for people to see that and understand that. And then we'll continue to effectively track tourism's impact in Bert County. Hey, how about the Hunger Games? We've all heard that movie's coming out March 23rd, worldwide. Significant part of the movie was filmed in Bert County. District 12, which is I guess somebody's read the book. I'm starting to read the book right now. But was filmed at the Henry River Mill Village, and we're currently working to see how we can capitalize on this fact that this movie was shot here. That scene you see there on your screen, you can actually go there and see that just like it is right now. So great movie, and we'll hope to work with them in Hildebrand and other areas to promote that. One last thing I'd like to say, on Saturday, February 11th, here in this room, we will hold the very first Brown Mountain Light Symposium. I have 2 experts in paranormal mystery lights that will be here to give their theories on how the lights form, where they form, when they form, that kind of thing. Should be a very interesting afternoon. Tickets are $20, which covers the symposium, your meal, and a guided nighttime field trip up to the Brown Mountain Overlook. So I'm not saying guaranteed to see the lights that night, but it's a good chance the experts will be here. So thank you.
Ed, I want to tell you that not because you're in here, one of your board members is here tonight too, but the enthusiasm for travel and tourism in Bert has come alive since you've been in that position. And I also want to tell you how much I appreciate, and the citizens of that have been a tremendous amount of cars that parked up on the overlook, looking at the left and looking at the right, and the view of Table Rock and Ginger Cake and all that is staggering. Thank you for all the assistance, financial as well, that you put in on both sides of that complex. And it's our only overlook, and we'll hear a little bit more about it, I guess, on February 11th. Now, it's going to be in this room. At what time?
Begins at 1, and we'll go in this room till about 5. We'll have dinner served here, catered dinner, and then we'll board a motor coach to go up to the overlook with the 2 researchers who will describe their research, what they found, One of these guys actually has recreated the lights in a lab, and so he has his theory about what creates them.
What happens if it's 10 inches of snow?
We're having a very warm winter.
Exactly.
You have two members of your board. I didn't know that. Two members of your board here.
Thank you, Jane. Jane Hogg is my chairman from the Inn at Glen Alpine. She's in present tonight, and Sharon Jablonski from the city of Morganton.
Okay, very
Appreciate
good.
them being here.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it very much. And I didn't say that for the benefit of them about travel and tourism. I mean that. I tell other people that. Okay. Anyone else in the audience would like to come before the Morganton City Council doesn't have anything on the agenda later tonight? Seeing no one, I will move on to new business, public hearing. First public hearing for consideration of a zoning ordinance amendment to section 9-4006SR8 to reduce the minimum lot size of home occupation uses within residential transition districts from 30,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet. Sally?
This is a request to amend this section that deals with only the residential transition districts, and those are all located in the planning perimeter. There are none of those inside the city. And it is looking at the opportunity to require less acreage in order to operate your home business. And this has been before the staff and the planning commission, and they do recommend approval of this. Lee is here tonight if you have any questions about the details of that. Basically, it's looking at allowing you to do professional type office uses in your home, and you would require to have about a half-acre lot in order to do that.
You didn't hear it, but I opened up the public hearing, but I'll do it again.
Okay.
Anyone wishing to speak for or against? Close the public hearing. Council, what are your wishes?
I move to adopt a zoning ordinance amendment to reduce the minimum lot size for home occupation uses within residential transition districts from 1.5 times the minimum lot size to equal the minimum lot size.
Okay, we have a motion second. Now, is there any discussion from the council? Close the public hearing.
Well, you already
Oh, I already
closed
did
it.
that. I'm sorry. Okay. I wasn't thinking.
Weird.
John smiled at me, and I got all flustered.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so
In the humor it was presented.
we have a motion, we have a second, and I've asked for discussion, and there is none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now, next, maybe I'll get this one right. I'm gonna open a public hearing to consider rezoning approximately 2.63 acres of property located at 110 Union Square Drive from general business conditional use to central business for the purpose of constructing a 45-unit senior living apartment complex submitted by Beacon Management Corporation. Sally?
This is a rezoning request, and it is a very exciting one. And this deals with the property that we quite often refer to as 400 Union Square across the street from City Hall. You will recall that for several years now we have been trying to develop that property with the assistance of the Morganton Redevelopment Commission. And they were working with a developer that did actually 2 phases of development on that property, and had plans to do the vacant property, which is on the side of Meeting Street. The economic downturn happened, and the original developer abandoned the project, and so the Redevelopment Commission has been looking for a new project and a new developer in order to finish that. Also, we've been working for a couple of years with Beacon Management, and Patrick Theismann is here tonight representing Beacon, and trying to locate a senior living development that would be an affordable senior living development in Morganton. We had looked at College Street as an opportunity to do that. In talking with the representatives from Beacon, thought that maybe this property may present an opportunity to get to do that and perhaps meet the requirements of the state guidelines in order to get some financing for this project. In order to do that and to participate in that process, the property needs to be rezoned to fit this project because it had been rezoned for the project that had been proposed to you earlier. Looking at 45 units that would happen with that. The Planning Commission has reviewed the conceptual plans and looked at this and have recommended approval of it. Patrick is here tonight and I'm sure would be glad to discuss any details or answer any questions for you about the project. Again, it will be going through the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency proposal and hopefully to get funded, and we would know about final funding for that in August.
They're a little delayed on launching their new application, so it'll take a little bit, maybe a few weeks longer than we had expected, but no later than mid to late August.
Anybody have any questions of Patrick? Very exciting.
I think
Come up to the mic, Patrick.
I think it's probably important that we do point out that this sale is contingent upon this financing,
Yes, sir.
just like the
College Street property was. Yes, sir.
Right.
And I would like to say Happy New Year to everybody, and I can't wait to tell my wife that Hunger Games is being filmed in Bert County. She's going to absolutely lose it, which is so exciting.
Very good. Patrick, be careful going back to Greensboro.
Will do. Thank you, sir.
We haven't voted yet, but as far as I know it, we're looking forward to this project. I mean that sincerely. You
Thank
tell,
you.
you tell your father-in-law.
I will. Thank you very much.
And anyone else? Close the public hearing, council.
I'll make the motion to adopt an ordinance rezoning approximately 2.63 acres of property located at 110 Union Square Drive from general business conditional use GB-CU to central business, and the purpose of constructing a 45-unit senior living apartment complex.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any discussion from the council members? And there's a lot of enthusiasm. I'll tell you that people that I walk into the post office or Harris Teeter's, a lot of comments about it and people are looking forward to it. I don't like to push my life away, but I'd love for August or so to be here so we could hear whether we're going to get it or not.
We'd like that very much.
Yeah, thank you a lot. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Other items, consideration of a purchase and financing of a 40-yard front loader refuse collection truck. Sally.
This is an item that we budgeted to purchase in this budget year. We had budgeted $224,000 for this purchase. We are replacing equipment that we bought in 2005 that is used in our sanitation services, and looking at the opportunity to replace this in a short time frame because the equipment that we have is not in the best of conditions, and we have been milking it for some time. We have been through a formal bid process with this, and Scott Luckadoo is here tonight and is going to come up and talk a little bit about the process that we've gone through for this bid proposal that we have before you tonight.
Thank you, Sally. Mayor, members of council, I appreciate this opportunity to talk about this purchase of a piece of equipment. And I would like to share with you, in my view, equipment management from budgeting, purchasing, proper application, safe operation, and maintenance of equipment as a primary responsibility as I have as the Director of Public Works. This particular piece of equipment fits into a fleet in my operation. In the sanitation and the solid waste collection, I've got 2 front loaders slated in operation. I've got 4 rear loaders. I've got 2 dump trucks, and I've got 4 leaf machines that I work as a pool to keep our city clean. As I purchase equipment, I project them on a spreadsheet with all my equipment and anticipate their replacement on an expected life of 8 to 10 years. This particular purchase was planned in 1999 with the purchase of a 1999 white Volvo truck and a front loader operation. And as it moved forward, it entered our capital purchasing plan in the first of 5 years and move forward. The purchase was actually scheduled in the 1988, 89, I mean the 2008, 2009 year. And a lot of things have changed as it moved forward. Each year when a piece of equipment is scheduled for purchase, we evaluate the current condition of the equipment and decide whether to move forward with the plan. Several things took place during this planning process. One of the changes, which is significant, is that in a reduction of the workforce, I reduced the front loader operation from a 2 full-time position to a 1 full-time position, and then supplement that with my sanitation residential crews in order to provide the services. And so I had, in effect, 1 piece of equipment that was primarily performing the tasks that are required, where in the past I'd used 2. And so the Volvo became a support piece of equipment. Last year, the Volvo, in my opinion, in working with Jack Parks, was not economically repairable. The service life of it had reached its end state, and we actually sold that as surplus and received $6,000 for that piece of equipment. We still left the purchase of a front loader in the capital planning, and then with this year's planning, we determined to move forward with that purchase. Another consideration that we took is that last year you asked me to look at privatizing the front loader operation. And so we actually asked for bids from the franchise carrier in Bert County, GDS, and they made their proposal. We analyzed that with our front loader operation, and my recommendation to you, that was clearly in the city's financial interest and service interest to continue in the front loader operation. So we needed to move forward with the purchase of a front loader. The 2005 truck that we're currently using is now experiencing structural failure in the refuge body, so it's becoming more critical to replace that piece of equipment. And since we sold our spare, when we've had to take that piece of equipment out of service for maintenance and repair, we've had to look to commercial carriers and other municipalities in the area to, in effect, lease their equipment after they had used it during the day to provide our services to the community, paying their operator overtime and our operator to ride with them to provide the service. So it is, timing of the purchase is critical. In preparing the vehicle specifications, when we prepared the budget last year, I talked with vendors of equipment to look at a reasonable budget figure to anticipate and to plan for in the purchase of this vehicle, and that's where we planned the $224,000 for this purchase. We visited and looked at equipment. We looked at what other municipalities are doing. We talked with various vendors. We actually made a site visit to Hickory, to the Mack dealer, to look at a Howe compaction body on a Mack cab and chassis, and we prepared our specifications. We also looked at opportunities to piggyback with other municipalities in their purchases, and we looked at the actions in Marion and we looked at the actions in Boone. Our application is not completely unique, but it has to be tailored to our operation, considering the terrain in Morganton, the stops and the starts, the traffic and the size of the roadway in Morganton, the distance to the landfill, the number of trips anticipated for each day to provide the service. The use of a truck in Morganton is different from a truck that would travel on the highway 20 miles to a landfill. And so we've got a close operation. But last time we did a purchase, we tried to minimize our numbers of trips to the landfill, and so we actually bought a third axle, 3-axle truck, which our current Mack body is, and that worked very well. The Mack is a strong truck, but the refuge body is failing. And so there's always the decision whether to go with low compaction, mid-range compaction, or high compaction body. We look at all of these with our operation. We look at what others are doing, and we prepare our bid specifications. And in this case, we looked at our historical file We looked at the specifications prepared by other cities. We looked at the recommendations from our vendors. One of the vendors actually looked at our specifications and recommended a higher horsepower and a heavier truck than that was purchased in Boone. And we determined that their rollback problems and their horsepower requirements are not required here in Morganton. So we put our bid specifications together, and I think Jack Parks, with 25 years in managing our equipment services and helping me prepare that, and Ronald Coleman, with over 25 years in the operation and looking at our needs and best application of that particular piece of equipment. We put our bid package together. Marilyn Waters helped us put that together. She's got over 30 years in purchasing. She's recognized across the state and is a certified local government purchasing agent. We put the specifications together to ensure fairness in competition. We wrote specifications that could be met by a number of chassis manufacturers as well as refuge body manufacturers. We set the bid date. We advertised that legally. We had the bid opening. We electronically solicited bids from 9 known vendors that we've been working with, as well as legally advertising it to open it up. We received bids from 6 different vendors, 16 different combinations of refuge bodies with cabin chassis. We recommended to you the Autocar chassis, which does meet all specifications. We recommended the Autocar with the New Way body, which meets all specifications. The particular truck that meets all specifications was within our budget. It was mid-range in the bids we received. Some additional benefits on performance and delivery. The cabin chassis is on the dealer's lot. The refuge body is on the vendor's lot. We expect delivery within 60 days, no more than 90 days. In the past, in purchasing refuge equipment, I waited as long as a year to receive delivery of the low bid. Another attractive part of the low bid is a 5-year warranty with the engine and a 5-year warranty with the transmission, which exceeded the other bids offered. After the bid opening, one of the bidders, which was not the low bidder, was the bidder of trucks that did not meet our specifications, offered a challenge to our purchase based on the price. And we reviewed his challenge. His challenge, the piece of equipment that he proposed, did not meet our specifications for the cabin chassis. It didn't meet the specifications for the engine horsepower, the suspension, or the brakes, and these are critical areas for the performance of our truck. And talking with the vendor who was challenging our purchase, he stated that he could have met specifications in the engine size, in the suspension, particularly on the front axle, and in the brake size. So what I'm proposing is that we award the contract to the lowest bidder who meets specifications, considering the price, the performance, and the delivery. And I'm very comfortable in recommending to you the Autocar and the New Way body.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Any questions of Scott?
Scott, did you
Yes, sir.
say the life expectancy was what, 8 to 10 years?
8 to 10 years, and the current body is failing. It's in its 7th year. What I'm going to do is look at continuing to use that as a spare for the new vehicle online. I'm going to look at the feasibility of refurbishing that body when I take it offline, re-welding the tailgate onto the body of the refuge body. Or if that's not feasible, I'm going to look at using the cabin chassis for a leaf collection application. I've got 4 leaf trucks which are mounted on, one's on a sweeper body and 3 of them are on refuge bodies. The oldest one's a 1988 white. So I will make use of that cabin chassis in the future, and if that's not the best course of action, then I'll recommend selling it at surplus.
Any other questions of Scott? What are your wishes?
Could I add one thing before we do that? If we decide to move forward with the purchase tonight, we had planned to finance this and have accepted financing bids also, and received a responsible bid from BB&T. We had solicited bids, I believe, from 6 institutions, and BB&T's bid is 1.74%, and that's a recommendation of a 4-year financing, which would be half of the minimum life of that, the expected life of that asset.
Unbelievable rate. Is that the lowest we've ever gotten? anything?
Yes, because we just got 177 last month, and I'll say, just like I said last month, that that's really good for this transaction. That is really bad for income earnings.
Okay. 2 motions, guys.
I'll make the motion to award the bid for the purchase of a 2011 autocar AC X64 cab and chassis with a 2011 New Way Mammoth front-loading collection truck in the amount of $222,430.98 to Advantage Truck Center, Conover, North Carolina, and to issue such documents as may be reasonably necessary to complete the purchase.
Second.
Have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to adopt the resolution approving financing terms for the purchase of the front-loading refuge collection truck offered by Branch Bank and Trust Company in accordance with the proposed date, January 4th, 2012, in the amount of $224,000 at an interest rate not in excess of 1.74% for a term of 4 years.
Second.
Okay, any discussion of that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Consideration of award of a bid to replace rotary screw air compressors at the waste treatment plant and to amend the budget for the purchase, Sally.
The waste treatment plant uses a pure oxygen system, and that is operated using air pressure that comes from an air compressor, or in this case, 2 air compressors. The equipment that is currently out there was installed in 1995, and that equipment failed in August of this year. At that time, we began using the backup system so that we could keep the oxygen system working. The backup system cost approximately a little less than $20,000 a month to operate. Staff was concerned at that cost and how long we may have to do that. Looked at other alternatives because we found out that the equipment that's out there is really not repairable, the compressor system. Began renting some compressor equipment at $10,512 a month and ceased using the backup system so that we could save those dollars. Put together some bid specifications and issued bids for that. Jeremy and Don are here tonight and can answer some detailed questions about that. This was also a formal bid process. We accepted bids back in October, I think. No, November. I'm sorry, November was the first bid, and we received 1 bid. Formal bid laws require us not to open that, and we did not, since we did not receive at least 3 bids in that first round, and then to rebid that. We accepted those bids on December the 22nd. In the second bid offering, we received proposals from 2 vendors. We are allowed to open that. We did. Received 2 that could meet specifications, and are recommending that you consider awarding that to the lowest responsible bidder, which is Blake and Pendleton, at $185,616 tonight. Getting that equipment installed will allow us to get away from the rental fee that we're paying each month. The other thing that will need to happen if we move forward with this is we will need a budget amendment, because again, we had not planned on this equipment failing during this budget year.
Okay. Don and Jeremy, y'all might want to come to the microphone, both of you, and just stand in case we have any questions.
I've told you everything I know about it. And maybe a little bit I don't know.
even though this is not part of this year's budget, this is part of the big plan that we talked about a couple months ago, and which is gonna be part of this big financial package that we do in the near future. Is that correct?
It would be in the 2015 timeframe, 2017 timeframe that will be addressed.
So this is to get us through until that time period.
Okay.
Yes.
Question. $19,980 to operate equipment that you had, backup equipment, but we could get by for 10,000 if we rented. Tell me,
Our backup equipment is liquid oxygen that we purchase in bulk from Praxair.
Correct.
And it's $2,000 per load, and that lasts us 3 days, if that's our only supply. And we quickly were trying to find something cheaper than that, and we began to talk to all kinds of vendors for compressors, and got to the point that we're at now is we've actually eliminated a centrifugal compressor was actually what was there, but by using the rotary screw compressor, we're able to do away with some other equipment. So that's going to be an additional savings in electrical costs and maintenance costs by going with this other type of compressor that we have there.
Are we ultimately going to phase out that technique of, you mentioned it a few minutes ago? Yeah,
The oxygen,
yeah.
yes.
How long will it be before we phase that out?
Probably about 2017.
2017?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I don't know whether my next question is for you or for Sally. If we're renting at $10,500 a month, and we've known since September that we needed a compressor, why have we waited? You know, I can see where you gotta go through a bid process. I understand that, but there's 2 months in there that looks like we've just been on idle.
Well, I think that we determined in September, we went to the rental. I mean, I'll take a shot at this because we talked about this all along the way to save the money, because the 10,000 was better than the 20,000 a month.
Right.
Then we had to put specs together and to write those and to make sure that the solution, and as Don just indicated, we changed from what we had, which was whatever that other compressor is that I don't know a thing about, to looking at this different type of equipment that will allow us to get rid of some other equipment and ultimately save us more in operational cost. And so in order to do that and to get the bid specs out, to find vendors that could hopefully bid on that, to write those in a way that didn't make it that only one vendor could respond to that. And then we sent them out, gave time to get them, got them in November with the hope to award in December. Only got one and had to add another month to the process.
We actually began the process by talking to Joy Air Compressor. And Joy, there was just a period where they didn't respond to us. And so that's how we began, that's when we began to look for other vendors. And Jeremy was familiar with this rotary screw type compressor from his experiences in other towns. So we were doing everything we could from the get-go, because we knew that this is $666 a day that we're spending on pure oxygen. We were doing everything we can or could to come up with some alternatives. And once we met one goal, then we would move on to the next one and move on to the next one. One afternoon, I stopped coming back from the wastewater plant at City Hall, and there was a gentleman in a pickup truck with some, I think it was National compressor. And I went over and engaged him and asked him, I said, do you have compressors of this type? We were looking for anybody that could, could supply us some information. So, you know, we tried to turn over every stone that we could find, and that's how we got to where we're at right now.
The one that you're looking at is a Solera. The two that you're looking at now, the Solera. The warranty on that those two compressors is what? 5 years?
It's 5 years. isn't it?
Correct. It's a 5-year warranty for
And
each
the-
machine.
And the high bidder was what? The high bidder? Ingersoll Rand.
I believe that there are some stipulations involved, and if we did ABC, then we received an XYZ warranty. I don't recall the terms and
But
conditions.
it wasn't 5 years.
It might have been matched. It might have been a matched 5-year warranty.
But it was 10 years, $10,000 more.
Correct.
Piece of equipment, two pieces of equipment.
Correct.
Okay.
Hey, would you speak to the delivery and the installation time?
Delivery is 12 weeks, and it's the good thing about Blake and Pendleton is they're in Hickory. They've been very supportive of us, and very willing to come over and talk to us. Can you add anything else?
With air compressors, we'll have to rewire quite a few electrical cabinets, some MCC cabinets. So I imagine that estimated installation time would be 2 to 3 weeks by the time we get parts and pieces and finally get everything put together.
So we're 4 months out yet?
No. 4 months?
Basically.
Yeah,
Correct.
Okay.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your wishes, council?
I
Got
move
2
to award a bid to the lowest responsible bidder, Blake and Pendleton, for 2 rotary screw air compressors in the amount of $185,616.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed?
Move to approve the budget amendment in the amount of $185,616.
Second.
A motion second. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Consideration to accept award from assistance to firefighters grant program and approval of budget amendment. Sally.
This is exactly the kind of thing that we like. Public Safety applied for a grant with the Assistant to Firefighters Grant Program. We were seeking grant funds, which would be federal grant funds, in order to help replace firefighters' turnout gear, and that gear is fairly expensive. We were just notified that we were successful in our request, and the grant award is $36,218. That's the total project. We're required to pay 5% of that, which is $1,810. We would propose a budget amendment accepting federal funds in the amount of $34,408, and then the $1,810 we would spend out of our safety line item.
Okay. We have 2 motions, gentlemen.
Making a motion to accept award from Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program, AFG.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any discussion?
It's a good thing. It's good to see that we're able to, I know John Campbell worked on this, and he's talked with me about it, and he's worked hard to get this thing through, and he's very pleased with it. And I think it's a good thing for the city that we can use somebody else's money to finance purchase of our firefighting equipment.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I make a motion to approve the budget amendment in the amount of $34,408 in federal funds.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, consideration of contracting with Manning, Fulton, and Skinner for lobbying services during 2012 for the next session of the North Carolina General Assembly. Sally.
You'll recall that for the last several years, we have found it necessary to contract with a lobbyist on our behalf, to have someone in Raleigh as the General Assembly comes into session and discusses and makes decisions on lots of items that ultimately affect us here. The league does some of that for us, and that's a good service and something that we value from them. But we found ourselves in the situation in dealing with cable and some zoning issues. other issues, the School for the Deaf and the possibility of it being closed down in needing someone that is on the ground every day there when the General Assembly is in session. We have in the past used John McMillan and Michelle Frazier. They both work for Manning, Fulton, and Skinner. We have talked to them about doing another contract this year. It is a short session, and the price for that is $30,000. If we choose to do that, we would approve retaining them, and we have an engagement letter from them that we received today, and that would cover us through this session of the General Assembly, basically for calendar year 2012. We would need a budget amendment for $25,000 because we have $5,000 in Steve's legal budget that we will put with this.
Very important that we utilize this lobbying firm, legal firm, and John and Michelle have meant a lot to the community as far as lobbying the General Assembly, without a doubt.
Truth is, we've taken a beating. Cities in general have taken a beating, but some of the legislation that's been passed in the General Assembly has affected us. The cable system, notably, they helped us a great deal in getting us exempted from some of the more onerous provisions of that bill. It's still a bad bill, but there are other issues too. Zoning issues we took a hit on. Annexation laws we took a hit on. And who knows what's going to happen this time.
Rental housing.
Yes, minimum housing. We've lost our right to inspect a lot of the inspections that we do. So who knows what's going to happen this time. We hope not, but if you don't have somebody down there already,
Every day.
ready to go every day, the private or the other people who have legislation that they want passed gets it introduced, and it's all, the skids are already greased long before we ever find out about it then. So it'll be helpful.
I will tell you that for the public, this lobbying law firm is probably one of the top lobbyists in the state of North Carolina, if not the top. I make a motion to approve the retaining of Manning, Fulton, and Skinner law firm to represent the city of Morganton in the North Carolina legislature at a fee of $30,000 as set forth in the engagement letter.
Second.
Have a motion, have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed?
I make the motion to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $25,000.
Second. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. John seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, consideration of appointment to the Airport Authority. Sally?
The Foothills Regional Airport Authority has a board that consists of 8 members. 2 of those come by way of appointment for the 4 governing bodies that are part of that entity. Last meeting, we appointed Sydney to be the elected official representing the city of Morganton. Don Wright is the citizen who has been appointed to that board. His term has expired. He has expressed a willingness to continue as the representative on the authority if you so choose.
I'll make the motion to reappoint Don Wright to the Foothills Regional Airport Authority for a term of 2 years, ending in December 2013.
Second. Have a motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consideration of appointments to the Community Building Board of Control.
This is a council-appointed board that helps to advise on setting rates at the community house and other issues that come up relative to the community house. The bylaws allow for 10 members on that. There are 6 members whose terms have expired. You have suggested to you there are 6 folks who would enjoy being reappointed to that board, and then you have suggestions for new membership on that board as well in your documentation.
There's a total of 6 available then, is that right?
Well, there's really 10 because 4 of the spots are vacant. There's no one in them.
They have been vacant.
Oh.
They've been vacant,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
They've been operating with 6 as opposed to 10.
So I'll Make the motion to appoint or reappoint Maxine Hapo, Brian Hester, Dolores Huffman, Virginia Lane, Fred Robertson, Martha Shelton, Mike Johnson, Michelle Spears, Wanda Brunette, and Katie Reed to the Community Building Board of Control for terms to expire on December 31st, 2013.
Second.
How often do they meet, Sally?
About,
Quarterly?
yeah.
Lou?
Probably not in fact that often, but they're supposed to meet quarterly, I think.
They do, and I know they meet probably at least twice a year.
I think that's,
We have the motion, we have a second, I think, don't we?
yes.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, anything from anybody else?
You know, one thing that we may want to consider going forward, staggering some of these terms rather than
All at one
having
time.
so many at one
Can
time.
we do it now?
Well, I suspect that you've got some bylaws
Bylaws
that you
to
have to
change.
rewrite. So we'll have to take a look at it and probably have to rewrite some charters or some bylaws. In some cases, it's done by ordinance. I don't know whether the community control board is done by ordinance or not, but
I don't think it is. I
I'm
actually
not-
think there's a set of
I just don't recall
bylaws.
right now, but that would require an ordinance amendment if we would stagger the term. But you're right.
We can,
In recent years, we've tried to stagger terms on all boards that we create and things. But in the old days, I don't know,
Gastonia and Asheville still elect every member of their city council all at one time.
at one time.
And will you,
Huntersville does too, and that's the
will you
reason they
have
have
time,
changes.
will you have time in your busy schedule in the next month to look into this?
Make a list, Steve.
I'll get round to it.
Round to it, okay.
Okay, nothing further from any member of the city council. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.